Hi guys. Uh, it has been a weird week, I guess is the best way to put it. Um, it's been a dull week in many ways, but also weird. I have hit today was the last of my medications for strep throat. Um, Instead of going running like I wanted to do, I actually wound up sleeping in this morning. So that was a really good thing. It actually I feel 10 times better. Hubby is still slowly getting better. Slowly. This one really knocked him for a loop. I've seen the man with pneumonia. He used to get it on a regular basis, like clockwork, every year. And then about 10 years ago, it just stopped. He stopped getting it. I don't know if it was because of kids or what exactly happened, but he just stopped getting it. And so asthmatic bronchitis just kind of did him in. He still gets headaches. He's still tired a whole lot. I think it's thrown off his sleeping schedule too. So he's slowly getting there, and it's a little bit slower than I'd like, considering where the original bounce backs. But he's slowly getting there. As for the kiddos, I think they've got colds. The reason why I think this is that neither one of them shows symptoms for strep throat. Neither one of them shows symptoms for asthmatic bronchitis. Their temperatures are good. I mean, they're still within the normal range. I check them constantly, it seems. Neither one of them have, tummies that hurt. They still eat like mad. Neither one of them has gotten sick. But they have the runny nose and they have the coughs like you wouldn't believe. In fact, on Friday, I was pulled out of work about 40 minutes before I was supposed to be out of work because the youngest was sent away from school. He had a dry cough that literally every 3 seconds that kid was coughing. I can see how it would eventually drive his teachers mad. It drove me mad to the point where I called the doctor's office and went, okay, this kid has allergies. He has allergies every year. Every freaking year, this kid has allergies, and it just gets worse every freaking year. Is there anything I can give him? So I got made to wait for about an hour and a half. During that time, I lost my patience and I called the pharmacist and went, what can I give my kid? He has a stent in his chest that shouldn't really affect anything, but he takes baby aspirin for it. I mean, like a full dose of aspirin, not half aspirin like he used to. He takes a full aspirin. What can he have? Pharmacist said, Claritin. I'm like, just, kids Claritin. She's like, no, just Claritin. It. How old is he? He's 7. Okay, just Claritin. And then about 15 minutes later, of course, the doctor calls back and tells me the same thing. So, yeah, it turned out not to be allergies, though, because I gave him that Claritin and it didn't really seem to do anything except knock him out, but it didn't abate the cough. So I wound up, in the end, getting him children's cold and cough medicine, praying I didn't overdose the kid as I dosed him about 5 hours after I got him this Claritin. But it seemed to do something for the cough. So for the last 2 days, he's been getting dosed with that. I haven't given him another Claritin since because it's got antihistamine in it. So then my eldest turns up today with a snotty nose. Gotta love it. So he started getting dosed. So both of them are being treated for colds. And I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping it doesn't turn into something worse and that we caught it at the perfect time. Um, on Thursday, I finally went and signed up with the Y. Yes, I'm still going to try for it. And I look at it this way. I mean, for the last 2 months, it's like I went from hardcore slowly down to the last 2 or 3 weeks, nothing. I hadn't even been doing push-ups or sit-ups for the last 3 weeks to a month. Let's go ahead and be generous. And 3 weeks to a month. I stopped trying running about 2 weeks ago. Part of that is it was hot out, and part of that is sheer discouragement. It seems every time I go to make 2 steps forward in this, uh, there's some type of setback. I mean, I get told that I'm supposed to run for at least half an hour, and I'm supposed to, within 17 minutes, make 1.5 miles. And you are looking at the person who, when she was 10, could not run a 13-minute mile and got made to stay back and run 3 miles in over an hour and a half because I was so terrible at running. I've never been good at it. Never been good at it. So I got in this mindset that I never would be. And that's not a good mindset to be. And just slowly everything just kind of stopped. And then to boot, I've got this financial thing on top of me, which this Wednesday, or actually probably on Tuesday, I'm going to write a check and I'm going to send it to them. And when they cash it, I'm going to call them and go, "Hi, you just cashed a check from me. You just accepted money. So that means that you're going to put me on a payment plan, as in right now." So, wish me luck with that one. I want to see how well that flies. Those are my 2 obstacles. And I let them discourage me. I mean, to the point where I just stopped. I stopped. I stopped doing it. And I have about a month and a half now. Not even that anymore. I probably have about 45 days. Actually, my birthday is October 21st, so let's just be generous and run up to the 18th. That's how many days I've got. And that's not a lot. But I'm not going to let that discourage me. I'm going to be basically driving this bad boy into the ground if I can. And hey, if it doesn't work, I'll be fitter. And I will have tried. As it stands right now, I'm not. I'm not trying. And the only person that falls on, yes, is me. But if I don't try and I fail, what good does that do? If I do try and I fail, then I tried. That's always been a major problem with me. I've always tried to not be in a situation where I'm going to fail, or where I think I'm going to fail. And a lot of times whenever I actually do fail, it's because I haven't actually tried at all. My brain analyzed and weighed the odds, and the odds were not in my favor, so why not even go up against the odds? And this is a bad way of thinking. We all know how extremely, extremely critical I am about myself in the first place. And when you have constant negative thoughts running in the background against yourself, that's just like the first step of discouragement. Yeah, there's 30% of you won't make it right there. And I really, really need to stop that. It's a habit of a lifetime. It's a habit that was instilled in me from a father who's extremely negative about me, about himself, and about really anything he came across. And he was always finding fault with me, and failure was not an option, ever. So that is the negative mindset that I've been running against. And it's not an excuse. It's never been a good excuse. But at the same time, realistically, that's what I'm up against. I'm up against his voice in the back of my head, and I'm up against myself. And I just really need to stop that, because every time that I have just told myself, you can do this, everybody thinks you can, you're the only one who thinks you can't. I've turned it around and I've aced it. I mean, that's really what's terrible, is the fact that every time I have aced it once I stop that negative mindset. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what this is. I'm going to go to the Y 6 days a week, and I'm going to run. I'm going to make the attempt to run. I'm going to go back to my sit-ups. I'm going to go back to my push-ups. I'm going to continue this, and I'm going to keep trying. That's what I've got. Those are my options. There is no other option. I'm going to write a check to these people, and I'm going to force them into a payment plan. I'm going to make this happen. And it's kind of a good thing that I'm aiming for the 18th of October, because when I understand they do those tests on Thursdays and Wednesdays. So I'm aiming for good dates. And from what I understand, the 21st is a Friday, and you get one shot. And I'm going to nail that out. On Thursday, I went and I signed up at the Y. And then I went and I got shoes. And T, I went with your suggestion. And I wore them all Friday. I picked up Pumas, and you're right, these shoes are epic. They're not exactly the best for the no-slip grip. I mean, they've got grippers, but I mean, I don't know what it is. I guess it's the new shoe thing, but the way I walk, they don't grip that well. But I gave them a test, and I think that I'll be wearing my work boots when I'm at work. But when I go to run, I'll be wearing these. And there's an advantage to that. And let me go ahead and explain. My work boots are steel toe. They are heavy. I am talking heavy. Now, the great thing is I don't have to do a whole lot of movement, but I do have to be standing on my feet. I'm taking a risk with shin splints, but since I'm not really walking around a whole lot, I'm in an enclosed space and moving in a small area. I'm not taking as big of a risk. And then there's the fact that I am rather used to them. So it won't take me long to readjust. But it will put a heaviness, or an anticipated heaviness, in how I move. So when I put on these Pumas, which are lighter than hell, and I mean, they are just wonderful. Aside from the whole adjusting to new shoes, like I said, it was wonderful. I've got a bit of rubbing on the back of my right heel. That happens with any shoes that I get. I mean, it's a standard, unfortunately. It happens with any shoes I get. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be wearing Band-Aids along the back of my leg at some point in time. But I'm going to try for this. And if I walk in there and put on these Pumas after wearing those work boots all day, that will probably actually increase my speed. I will be anticipating a weight at the end of my feet that I won't have, and I'll be able to move a little bit faster. So, keep your fingers crossed. At least that's the thinking I've got, so don't destroy it. But they're great shoes, and I'm signed up, and as you can see, I am pulling myself out of this mindset. I did have a bit of a setback this morning, but I think I needed the sleep more than I needed to get up and run. I sweated to death all night. I mean, last night was so much fun because here it is on Friday. I get pulled out of work about 40 minutes early. And this is after I hear that my supervisor, one of her nieces, or actually her second cousin, I think it would be, it's her cousin's child, who she considers a niece or like a daughter, was going through kidney failure. I mean, she received a call, and then I received a call. Went and picked up my youngest. So, like, the day was just, I wasn't going running that day. That day was shot. And then, of course, the red threat descended, which explained a lot of my lack of appetite and just crippling headaches. So that was loads of fun. But I went to bed on Friday night, and I got up Saturday morning at 6 o'clock and unlocked the door for hubby so he could come in, and he came in around maybe 5-10 minutes after that. And I just fell out, and I stayed out till 10 a.m., which was a good thing. It really was. I felt loads better afterwards. And then, of course, I woke up to the kids having colds. Wonderful. I already knew about the babies, but the eldest, oh, so you have a cold too. That's fantastic. So, like I said, I mean, I thought Tuesday was pretty bad, finding out that I had strep throat, but I mean, Thursday and Friday were kind of kickers for me. I got so much done on Thursday in anticipation of Friday, and Friday's went around. Saturday even went around. But I got my post in for Fic Rush, which is more than you can say for A couple of fit crushes that I did. I'm scheduled and like, okay, when am I scheduled? Oh, it was yesterday. Um, Still haven't gotten any writing done. Uh, just a lot of crickets and tumbleweeds. I have absolutely no idea what's up with the muse, but I honestly think she went to go sober up. I really have no idea. It's like I can get the ideas. It's like I still have the major fandom enthusiasm, but I just can't make it click. Um, DD3 was like, oh, well, writer's block. Oh, I wish it was writer's block. It'd be nice if it was just writer's block, but it seems to be block everything. And it's understandable. I mean, last several months, high stress. And then, I mean, for 2 months in a row to have the stress just greatly relieved, and then more high stress. I mean, between me trying to get in the military and being thwarted every freaking turn, I can't decide if fate wants me to not go. Then why would they place it in front of me to begin with? Oh, by the way, you can do this. Now we're just going to stop you at every turn so you don't do it. Or if it's putting obstacles in my path, so I reach this line of thinking of everything I've ever wanted, I stopped reaching for it when the going got tough, because somehow I managed to convince myself when the going got tough that the problem was me, not the situations around me, not my environment, not even the people around me, because I had a couple of problems with a couple of people in my lifetime. But the problem was me, which automatically stopped me every time. But now I'm wondering if I'm getting all these obstacles because it has been such a long time since I've actually wanted to do something like this. It's been a very long time. And I'm making up for all the things that I could have been doing before that I didn't do. So I'm playing with several new things. I'm hoping if I ever actually do get the muse up off the ground that I can run by her an original storyline and use that portions of it for posting prompts at puzzle prompts. That would be lovely. I also have The Darkest Night that I signed up for with an old fiction lurking in the back. In fact, the first fiction of this type in this fandom that I did. I mean, it's very first fiction that I wrote of this type. And I have a prompt that suits it perfectly that makes me actually want to revisit the fiction. It's just, once again, I've been thwarting myself. Oh, I don't have time. No, I'm fucking off, and I know it. So this is me going, I need to quit fucking off. I need to do the sit-ups, I need to do the push-ups. I need to make the time to sit down and write, because obviously I have the time. If I'm cramming West Wing, I've more than got the freaking time. I've fallen off the wagon a little bit with cigarettes. Yeah, it is a little bit, though. I mean, it's a little bit. Aside from the first couple days of me being sick, where I seemed to do like I did in the old days in Freight Train, but that's because it just didn't seem to be doing anything for me, which is what happens when you can't taste anything and when the medicine is doing its work on you and you have no idea which is up or down. But it is time for me to stop making excuses. It is time for me to stop making those excuses about me, that there's a problem with me, or there's a failure with me, or I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough. Because obviously I was good enough, smart enough, strong enough to reach this far. So that can't be sheer luck. And I'm the only person I have encountered yet that seems to think that I can't do this. I have absolute strangers who think I can. Whether they are supposed to think like that or not, I don't know. Especially since one of them is a staff sergeant. I don't know if he's just supposed to just encourage me just because, or if because I hit a demographic. But either way, he seems to think I can do it, and so far, he's been right. So it's time to stop making excuses. It's time to stop self-destructing. It's time to stop stopping myself and telling myself that I can't do it when obviously so far that's exactly what I've been doing. I've had obstacles, but I've been meeting them and I have been eradicating them as I go. Some of them take a little bit longer than others, and we all know how I am with patience. Me and patience are not the best of friends. But I'm working on it. I mean, I've been working on this since January and February. So it's time for me to go ahead and get it together and make it happen. And, if I don't make it, oh great. I'll have been right a couple of months ago before I tried. But if not, well, then I guess everybody else will be right, and I'll have been right from here on out. So I'm going to do my darndest, and I'm going to make it. And if I don't, it's no big deal. At least I tried. And if they open up again for, say 40, 41 is the cutoff date, I'll be right there again. And hopefully I'll be able to make it, because once I get started on this, I don't plan to stop. And I want you guys to make sure that I don't. I know I'm asking a lot of you. I always ask a lot of you guys. But make sure that I stay on it. Make sure I don't stop. Because if I let my psyche win, I certainly will. On other good things, I won first place for previous tenants, and I got the banner. Well, it was vacant, was the challenge from Who Contest, and I won for the previous tenants. And it is a gorgeous banner, and I do plan to post it along with this vid, wherein I talked a whole lot about nothing at all, I'm sure. But I got you guys filled in, and I managed to give myself a pep talk. Hopefully I will click on this again if I need it and still get that pep talk. So, weird week. Hoping this next week is better. Just keep your fingers crossed for me. And keep your fingers crossed that besides doing this exercise that I can actually crank out some words, because that would be awesome if I could actually sit down and write something, especially since now I have two things that I'm uberly excited for but just can't seem to get up off the ground. One of them being an original fiction, and one of them being a fiction and a fandom that is still near and dear to me, that I still love just obsessively, and I want to get this story written, whether it's a rehash of an old tale that's long abandoned, or it is a new tale. I want to get it done. So keep your fingers crossed for me. Keep the vibes coming. I did do a full moon thing. I shook it up a little bit. I didn't do what I normally do, so let's hope that works for us, huh? Keep your fingers crossed. And until I talk to you all again, be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Love you guys.